Alrighty then. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Matthew Baker of Beautiful New York Tours. I had a plan for answering a request, as I usually do in these videos, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow because I felt it was important to address a historical story here in New York that really touches on the national dialogue and the popular conversation right now. So much is going on during this time of quarantine. People are talking about whether it's too early to reopen. People are talking about whether it's already later than we should have reopened. People are talking about whether it makes sense for everybody to wear masks or only do it if you want to, and things like that. And I realized I would like to share with you the story of an infamous New Yorker named Mary Mallon. You might not know that name, but you know her nickname, Typhoid Mary. Typhoid Mary Mallon came from Ireland at the turn of the century and was an uneducated cook. Knew how to read, but had never gone to university or anything like that. She was a household cook for wealthy families, and she was a good one. She remained employed during times of year when many domestic servants, often don't. In the summertime, when the city got terribly hot, the big wealthy families of Fifth Avenue would go to their country estates on Long Island or Connecticut or up in Newport, Rhode Island, and they would often, those who employed Mary Mallon, they would often bring her with them. That was unusual. Traditionally, you would hire your domestic servants locally when you went to the country estate. So the fact that she was brought indicates that they really, really liked her food and her services. But one year, family brings Mary Mallon out to their Long Island home. She's cooking for them, and one of the children in the family comes down with typhoid fever. Now, this was not unusual. Typhoid fever was rife in the city and in the tri-state area during this time. But when the family called for medical help, it was discovered that Mary had disappeared. When the authorities began looking for her, their investigation revealed that the last 3 or 4 families she had worked for all wound up with outbreaks of typhoid fever. When they finally found her, she was taken into custody, kicking and screaming, swearing she had done nothing wrong. And that was when the nickname Typhoid Mary was first presented upon her by the press. You see, Mary did not contract typhoid fever. She never did. She remained, as far as she could tell, healthy as a horse. She was the first person ever designated by medical experts in this country an asymptomatic carrier. They tried to explain to her what this meant. She refused to believe it. She was quarantined on North Brother Island. North and South Brother Islands are way up the East River, where the East River and the Harlem River and the Long Island Sound all meet. Beautiful haunted places. But there was a hospital on North Brother Island at the time. She was quarantined there for 3 years. During this time, her stool samples indicated the presence of typhoid bacteria in her gallbladder. When the doctors suggested she might want to have her gallbladder removed, she refused because she was sure she did not have the sickness. After 3 years, a judge decided that we couldn't just keep her quarantined indefinitely and that she was to be released on the understanding that she would change her profession, no longer work as a cook, and take steps to avoid spreading typhoid to anyone else. She agreed. She found work as a laundress, did it for a few years, then changed her name to Mary Brown and started cooking again. She was eventually found working as a cook in a hospital. By this point in time, she had infected 51 people with typhoid fever, 3 of whom died. She remained in quarantine after that on North Brother Island for 23 years, the remainder of her natural life. It could have been cut shorter, but she was unwilling to listen to the doctors and the medical experts who wanted to make it clear what the situation was. She refused to take the necessary steps. She refused to look out for her fellow New Yorkers, and she wound up lengthening her quarantine to the end of her days. Today, the story of Mary Mallon is a warning to us all. We would like for it to be safe to reopen the industries in New York, including the tourism industry, and to travel again. But for that to happen, we need to listen to the doctors and the medical experts and do what is necessary to look out for each other. Once that work is done, I would love to see you in my city. Please check me out at Beautiful New York Tours. You can search Beautiful New York Tours on Facebook or email me at baker.tours@yahoo.com. Again, that is baker.tours@yahoo. Thank you very much.